how would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have Marcel, which he is a property developer, a serial entrepreneur, and a fellow YouTuber. So Marcel, tell us, what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
5 steps to first million. Number one, your systems. So your systems need to be impeccable. Those are when it comes to your internals of your business, like your systems matter the most. From everything from your client services to accounting, all of those systems that you have in place to run your business, they should be like top notch, impeccable. Number two, you definitely have to have customer service skills. Like you have to be able to communicate with the public effectively. If you want to pick up deals, contracts, you definitely need to be able to transverse that. You have to be able to reach out to the public and communicate well. Number three, networking. Networking is incredibly important. Like every time I have an opportunity to attend an event, meet somebody brand new, that's the very first thing I want to do, because all of the networking that you can do and gathering people and names, you want to have your own internal network. So if I want to look for a loan, I have a banker. If I need accounting services, I have an accounting. If I need some type of equipment, I have an equipment person. You want to have your own stable of people, because that's how you get the best pricing, and that's how you build your reputation, because people get to know you for business. So your network is incredibly important. Number four would probably be mastering my financials. Absolutely, right? So, I mean, you don't have to be perfect with your X's and O's, but you definitely need to make sure that you have a really good accounting system in place to track all of your expenses, to make sure your income is correct. You want to make sure that you're tracking that on an ongoing basis. You don't want to do it at the end of the year. I get monthly reports. So I know exactly, what's going on with me and my companies on an
Wow.
ongoing basis every single month. Lastly, your mental attitude. Your mental attitude. I mean, this is a space where you're going to always hear no. You're going to always hear people telling you that's a bad idea. You're going to get, when it comes to sales, we get one contract out of 10. So you have to be able to push through all that negativity and stay focused on your goal, because rejection, losing, failure, that's a part of the process. And if you can't handle that, then you can't come into this ring, because this is a serious business, and you have to definitely make sure that you understand what it takes to be in here, and you can't be thin-skinned. You have to be strong. You got to have a real backbone, and you have to be able to push through the adversity.
Oh, Marcel,
Ah,
oh, I love them. Yeah, and we're gonna go. We're gonna dive in straight away. So, Marcel, it's already difficult to build one company and to have one business, and you have several. How you decide to become an entrepreneur? Do you have any family that is an entrepreneur? Do you have a friend, a teacher in the school? Why you decided
yeah,
to become an entrepreneur?
my dad was an entrepreneur, so
Wow,
yeah, entrepreneurship runs in my DNA. And when I was small, I used to watch him because he used to own a bunch of grocery stores. So
wow.
I really had a chance to see him do his thing from the inside, as a small little kid. So I always knew when I grew up that I would want to run businesses.
That's amazing because I was thinking the other day, regardless of any political views that we may have, you see the son of the family of the Donald Trump, right? Those kids, they have a different perspective in life because his dad's an entrepreneur, so the conversation in this house is about profit, loss, taxes, employees, way of living. You don't need to find a job. You can create your own job. Let's have an idea. So
Yep.
as a young kid, I can see that your dad had been a huge source of inspiration for you, and I bet that he's very proud of you, knowing that you own several businesses, not only one, which is I used to own one. I own several businesses, and I know that is a more challenging to have only one business. So, where do you um, uh, when do you one thing is to have the source of inspiration. One thing is, wow, I would love to do like my dad to have this business. Um, but when do you have the last push? When do you say, for example, do you start to work and then you get tired of your job and you decide to create your own business? How was this early stage for you?
Well, again, when I was young, I already knew what I wanted to be, but I definitely wanted to get the education first, right? So, I went all the way up to grad school and received my master's in organizational communications. It's just like business administration. So once I
Mm-hmm.
graduated from college and I had a more of a business understanding and just the knowledge from an education standpoint, I still didn't immediately do entrepreneurship. I first actually went into the 9 to 5 world and I just didn't fit. Like it just didn't work for me. I felt like I was wasting my time. I mean, I
What were
learned
you
a lot
doing?
of things.
What were you
I
doing
was
as a nine
I was in
to five?
yeah, I had a lot of administrative positions. So I was more like, quality improvement. So I had a lot of directorial positions where, I was really, looking at an organization from the top down. And again, it wasn't really hard work, but at the same time, I didn't feel comfortable because I felt like I could be doing more, you know?
Hmm. It's
So I
already in
remember,
your genes. Yeah.
yeah, it's in my genes. So, I remember I was this one day I was out playing golf with the executive of like Catholic Charities. He's like the top of the food
Wow.
chain. And we're out there
Wow.
playing golf. And I remember being out there going, this can't be it. Like I just felt like I think most people would have been happy right there. I was making a
Mm-hmm.
good amount of money. And I just didn't feel like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. So soon as I had the opportunity to kind of like buy my first franchise, is the first thing I did.
Wow. Um, so, Marcel, what the message do you have for our listeners that they are in corporate that they are just listening to you and say, "Wow, I wish that I find the courage to do what he did." You know, a lot of people in corporate America on corporate jobs, they are happy, they are frustrated, they're caught in this golden cage that corporate give you, because don't get me wrong, they pay you very good money. They make sure you as more comfortable as possible so you don't leave. But the other side of the coin is that when they don't need you, they will get rid of you very easy. And now you're out there in the marketplace and you only very good at one thing, because this is how you climb the corporate ladder. You have to be very good at one specific thing. And when you go to business, completely different ball game. You need to know a little bit or maybe a lot about a lot of things. And there is no such a thing like it's not my job, because in corporate you can say, well, this is not my job. Well, when you become an entrepreneur, everything is your job.
Everything is your job.
So there is no such a thing. So how was your transition from mindset, and what was your biggest challenge, and how you overcome this challenge? Because uh, coming from corporate, maybe you jump into the business and say, wow, what my dad was doing is not as easy as I thought. Is had to do things that I don't like, and I had to do it, because if I don't learn, I won't be able to employ anybody to even give them instructions. And this is not as fun as I thought. At least at the beginning, we always there. So, what was your biggest challenge as an entrepreneur at the beginning, and how you overcome the challenge?
The biggest challenge was the very first business that I purchased was a franchise called the Maids Home Services, right? So they're a residential cleaning company. And I thought that, that was a very challenging moment because, I'm American. I don't speak Spanish,
Spanish.
right? Right. And
And
I remember, like one of my neighbor franchisees, he spoke Spanish, right? So I think people looked at that and they felt like I didn't have a good chance at succeeding, right? Because the truth is, in my business, that's 95% of my employees
Of the
are Spanish,
workforce.
Latino, right? Yeah. So they didn't think I had a shot. Well, I tell you what, the first thing I did was found me a really, really good bilingual manager. That was the first thing I did because I
That was
already knew
very
that
clever.
barrier was there, So I think that's the whole point, right? When you're a business person, you have to be able to anticipate risk. You have to be able to logically figure out what could be your challenges, right? So my biggest challenge at that time was really creating one by one managers that really could implement the system. They had to be able to like speak for me. So I had to make sure I found personalities that match my personality. So when I'm talking to them, they're communicating my message to my staff exactly how I
Wow.
would, or at least
Wow.
close.
Mm-hmm.
And that strategy worked, right? It was challenging at first, but over time, I started getting better and better managers. I got more and more employees, and the message was clear that at the end of the day, your management represents you, right? So just understanding that even if you go in a situation and you might not have the advantage, how can you overcome that? Because my neighbor, he went out of business. He actually went out of business.
Oh,
He
really?
made it. He made it like 3 years, and then he had to sell his business, right? Because
Wow.
it's more than just communication, right? You have to
Absolutely.
be. You already summed it up. You have to be the accountant, customer service. You have to be employee relations. You have to be marketing, right? You have to be everything if you want to be a true, effective, successful leader and business person. And if you can't do some of those things, you better find somebody that can, right?
Mm.
So, and I know the restrictions are always there because you like money, 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 money. But some things are worth spending money on because, again, a good accountant can save you from a audit. A good accountant,
Absolutely.
and if you do get audited, you want to have a good accountant to represent.
Exactly.
Yeah, so no matter how much
100%.
that costs, you want to be able to just have that in place because that could put you out of business. But yeah, like that was my biggest challenge. My biggest challenge was overcoming that barrier and trying to make sure that I could still get clear communication to my staff, even though I didn't even speak Spanish.
Now, myself, one out of five, one out of six entrepreneurs that come to this podcast on a stop of 5 step how to make the first million are actually in the real estate business. So people might assume that to become a millionaire in real estate is really easy. I think that in real estate have a lot of potential. My first business was in real estate. We managed to sell over 5 million. However, it has the risk because if something goes wrong in real estate, is the mistake is expensive. You can talk about 50,000, 100,000, quarter million, you name it, depending on the deal. So
Very
how
true.
you made that transition or after having a successful business and a cleaning company and managed to survive, now you jump into real estate development, which is completely different ball game because if something goes wrong, we're talking about a lot of money. But if
Yes.
something goes well, it's amazing. And
Right.
what happened there? When you decided that you want to jump into real estate? Were you aware of the risk that
Yeah.
that might occur jumping into development, which is there are big words and
It's
big
big
money
words.
and big
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
So
No.
what happened? How
Yeah.
come you
Well,
jump into this?
I started pretty early because when I was in college, I used to have a townhouse and I used to rent some of the rooms to college students, and that rent would pay my that their rent would pay my mortgage, right?
Very
So
good.
when I figured that out, I was like, okay, there's something to this. And then after I had a property, I had like a couple of properties. My neighbor was a really good general contractor. And at the time, you had all these shows about flipping houses, and they put the money on the screen, how much they made. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay. So,
That
I,
makes
I had
sense.
a,
That makes
yeah, so I'm
sense.
like, it makes sense. I'm like, so my neighbor basically did, he's a general contractor, which is key. He
Hmm. Oh, in
basically was
that
a good.
business, you do need good builders.
You have to have a
You
really
need
good one,
them.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. That's key.
we started working together, and I would provide the funding. We'd find a house, he would flip it, and whatever it cost, we deduct it from, the
Hmm.
cost of the project, and then we would split the rest. So I really started to understand just what it takes to just flip a house. So that was like my education in that area, just all the construction, tearing down walls, supplies, things of that nature. So I was watching him and I was learning. But rehabbing is not what it's all built up to be. Like you got to pay everybody before you get paid. You got to
Hmm.
do the construction. You got to pay the realtors. They got to market it. The house has to go for sale at a certain price point for you to make money. So, I learned that, there were some good deals, there were some bad deals. So then
Yeah.
I decided that I wanted to move up in the food chain more to property development, right? Which, at the end of the day, when it comes to development properties, it's all about capital, right? I mean, it's hard to get into the game because you have to have enough capital to finance a deal or at least cover part of the deal so you can get additional finance, especially when you're doing deals like as big as we do, 2, 3, $4 million deals. You definitely have to have that track record that I talked about, and then you definitely have to have the capital to kind of move into it. But again, when I was doing flips, I was using hard money, right? So that's what made it tough too.
Wow.
I was getting high interest loans to do the deals. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. But it goes to our point again. As an entrepreneur, you had to take risk. You know,
I, you
um,
have to learn by doing. If you don't
you
make
have
this
to learn.
mistake, I bet that if you haven't this money that maybe you didn't make flipping houses in the years that they went wrong, what that's experience to go into development because now you're more cautious and you're more risk. You understand the risk. Yeah. So what are the developments, Marcel, basically that you're working at the moment all over US, or you
No, no, no,
specialize
no.
in?
Right now, because I'm in Virginia. So I'm on
Mhm.
the outskirts of Washington, D.C. and Maryland. So a lot of my deals are in Washington, D.C. right now.
Yeah. So then, Marcel, what message do you have for our listeners? They um, they are you talk about mindset and everything is your, and in the end of the day, when you start this business and things it doesn't kind of work out like we really wanted at the beginning. We find out that we have to wear all the hats. So we have to do the sale, we have to do the marketing, we have to do everything. And now we start to face rejection. And people are telling you, no, 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 they don't want your product, they don't want your service, and because nobody knows you, the good employees doesn't want to work with you. And if they want with you, they want to charge you a lot of money because nobody knows you. Then the clients want to pay you cheap because again, nobody knows you, so they ask you for discount. Then the supplier, again, nobody knows you, so I'm gonna give you different terms. And then you're receiving no, 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 no everywhere. And then there are things that you don't know how to do it, but you have to do it because you don't have money to pay. And with my property business, I remember I was doing the painting and everything myself. It was
Yep.
no like I remember when my business advanced, I hope my manager something got broken and they were taking the phone and said, calling the contractor, can you go and fix this? Can you paint this? Can you paint? And I was looking at the girls. I said, no, guys, you do the thing so easy. You won't believe at the beginning how the thing was. I had to do it myself. You guys just take the phone and call and pass me the bill and that's it.
Nope.
Great,
Nope.
great, but this business it was not built like this. I had
Exactly.
to do it myself at the beginning, and if I knew how to paint or not, that was I had to learn, and that's the end of it. So, um, but in the end of the day, myself, all this negativity, all this negative emotion, because sometimes you make it about yourself. Say, wow, they don't want to buy my product because of me. uh, you make it personally. You're thinking that entrepreneurs we take our business personal like our baby, and then if somebody doesn't want to buy from us, we think there's something wrong with us. It's affect our mindset, and probably this negative emotion come if you don't deal with can become this emotional pain can become a physical pain. Entrepreneurs can end up with cancer, with a heart attack, We believe in this broadcast that all the entrepreneurs should be wealthy, healthy, and happy. And this phrase that you have behind you, work hard and stay humble, it was my biggest lesson in business. Yeah. Because when I started in business, I thought that was a big deal. And I
Yep.
thought, I thought that I'm the boss here, and I don't trust anybody, and that's why I didn't want to employ people because I didn't trust anybody. And
Mhm.
so, what if I give the keys to my employees and they steal the computer from my tenants? And so I was in this mindset. I don't trust anybody, but there is you doing everything by your own. You can scale until certain point, and I couldn't function anymore. I have large portfolio property. I was doing something very similar what you described, rent to rent. We were renting the houses, fixing them and renting by units to students. And but it was certain point of when I have 7 or 8 houses, and I couldn't function anymore. There were always 2 rooms empty, and I have a job in the Hilton back then, so I'm half building my business at the same time that working as a room service attendant in London, and uh, and I was so tired that I was falling asleep with my laptop, and I was angry, tired. You know, when you don't sleep, you get this, and again, you're dealing with all these uh, phases of the early beginnings of the business that you have to deal with all negativity, especially growing. Uh, but then out of necessity, I started to hide the people, and the girls they were better than me at everything. To the point that one day I arrived to the office, they sent me home. They told me, Harry, we don't need you anymore here. Go home,
That's good
travel the
stuff.
world. Don't come to the office because you giving us conversation because you have nothing to do and you don't let us work. So, but the whole point, Marcel, it was the transition in my brain from rather than be this big shot and a big deal, everybody had what I say. So to move into exactly what you described, I work hard but stay humble. I realized that if I stay humble and I empower my employees and I give them more access, more control, and be part of the business, I didn't want to be this type of boss that when the staff go out for a drink, they let me out. I didn't want them to let me out of the thing. I was,
Yeah.
I would have nightmares. Like so, sometimes at work you see everybody goes for a drink. No, don't call the boss. Don't call the boss. Let him go. We go. We won't invite him. I'm saying no way that is my employee. They're gonna go out to have fun and they're gonna leave me out. So I had to be part of the group, whatever it takes. I want to be with them. I have to be one of them. So that reduced, the level of sometimes entrepreneurs we have that ego, so we make the business maybe for the wrong reason. That we doing it because we want to be a big shot or we want to be this egocentric uh, boss that everything runs around you and it's very contradictory because when you want to set the business you will find out that you cannot set the business because the business won't operate if you're not around, right? so
Exactly.
when when Marcel just I think that you live by you believe because it's even in your background, work hard by stay humble. When do you realize that in order for you to have your mental health check and to do it and to make your business to grow and succeed and do multi-million pound deals in property, you actually, I mean, you don't have to be humble if you don't want. You are a big deal. However, you choose to work hard and stay humble, to uh, to do it for the business, to do it for your employees, and at the end of the day, the business is not about you. It's about what you're offering out there, the benefit that you offer to the marketplace, and your role is not that they make an started at you or the club at you. Your role is to empower your employees and to treat well your customers. And so when do you discover this that you
You
have to
know,
work hard and stay humble?
well, that when I was fortunate enough, again, when I started to come in when I entered the business world, I bought a franchise, right? So that's not the same as like starting from scratch. Like, because with franchises, they have a strong system in place, and
Yeah, you
they
you just need to operate it and
right.
be a
And
good
you
operator and the thing
and
should work, right?
and it should work. And then the good part about that was, I had other mentors that had already been in business for 15, 20 years, and they were already pretty big companies. And I remember Donna OJ, who was the first one. She told me, she was like, one thing you got to always, well, she told me two things. The first thing was, she said, don't ever turn down business, right? she's like, I don't care what the
Never
contract.
say no. Eh?
Exactly. I don't care how small it
Oh,
is,
I
big
like
it
this
is.
tip.
Everybody the same. Like, get the money. Like, no matter what it is, make it happen. So never say no in business. That's what she said. And then two, she said, you can't grow the business if you're in it, right? So it's kind of what you were pointing out. Like, if I'm feeling like I got to do everything, right? I can't be out there representing my business and growing it in the networks, right? People got to know that the business is out there, and it's my responsibility overall to get new business. So it's not my responsibility just to grow the business, right? I can't be in there vacuuming and helping the girls with everything and talk to them about equipment. Like, I got to have management doing that. I got to trust them so I can go out and go, I have a new business.
That's the issue, Marcel. You have to trust them.
You have to
So
trust them.
how you, because it's hard at the beginning. That's
It
your
was
baby,
actually,
man. You're gonna, how you trust somebody else with your baby?
it's
It's
true.
hard. It's hard.
It's very true, but you got to have faith.
If you
You
don't do
know,
it, it will never.
you
And
won't ever
it's
make
not
it.
gonna be perfect. Let me,
Uh,
when I started to employ people, there was no all perfect.
nope.
We have challenges. People stole money from me, my employees. So, but eventually,
You will have a
you
you will
learn. You will
you will
find the right people,
gradually
right?
right. You will gradually meet the right people, hire the right people, and all of them make your. That's why it's called an organization, right? All of us are in the same boat, and you can't have somebody walking around with a drill on a boat, drilling holes in the boat, right? Like that can't work. So if they, because all of us are going to go down. So everybody needs to understand that's the first thing, that the only way we're in business is all of us together do a great job. So like with me, that was the biggest thing. Like I learned early from really good people, but I also understand business. You have years where you're doing great, then you have years where you have bad years, right?
Absolutely. Tell me about.
So so being all, oh, I'm the man, and you have a good year, next year you can have a toiling year. Like what are you then? So like you can't ever take it too seriously, right? You got to always be level.
Humble.
You're never better than anybody else. Yeah, I'm the boss, but I treat everybody the same. Everybody the same, from my employees to my customers. And I've had situations over the years where my customer tried to treat an employee bad. I dropped the account. I dropped the account. I'm like, I'm not going to have anybody treating my employees, because my employees are family,
Very
and
nice.
so because I treat them like family, I got to protect them too. So it's this understanding that like you are not the main guy. You have big responsibilities,
Exactly.
but
All
you
we
can't
have
have
is
an
a more
organization without
responsibility.
people.
That's all we
Right.
have. But if you want to succeed in business, and you have to stay humble, and you have to. Your job is empower and create leaders within your organizations. This
That's it.
is
True,
um,
true, true entrepreneurs, like you said, create leaders. And every level I've ever gone up, I always meet people that are doing way more than me. you know, so if I'm doing a $4 million building, there are people
you
out there
hanging
doing
out with people.
$20 million buildings. So like, yeah, I can't be like, oh, I'm the man. I'm not the
Mhm.
man. It's real levels to this thing. So you just gotta be humble, be happy where you are, and always try to grow.
Yeah, and with this mindset, man, you're gonna reach the sky. I mean, you're already reaching the sky, but with that mindset, you're gonna go really, in my experience, yeah, and my opinion, you're gonna keep growing even more. The sky is the limit for you, because this is key. And but anyway, but the other thing, Marcel, is that when you started the business, you say like you start even like a business operator, yeah, and then you start to have the product, but you are in business, so you have a product, you sell it, you make a little bit of money, but now you realize that you're gonna own several businesses, you're gonna do $4 million deals. You have to become a leader, and you have to inspire leadership within your organization. You are like, well, I didn't sign up to become a leader. I'm signed up to sell my product and make some money. Now I have to become a leader. Now I have to become a role model. Now I need to develop my leadership skills, and not even that, to empower leadership within my organization. And you looking at yourself and you say, well, now I have to become a leader. Now I have to become a role model. Like, for example, like when I started this previous the podcast, I explained to you that why we ask this question, why when if I start to make the first million, because we want your story to be as a role model for our entrepreneurs listening the broadcast. But did you sign up for this, or you're doing it because of your business and because it's required, and also, being the podcast, nobody knows if you really like to be in front of the camera, you want to be in the spotlight. So we have to do a lot of things for our business that at the beginning we didn't sign up for,
Right.
but if we want to grow, we have to do it, right?
When I first bought my first franchise and I had one car, we just had one car.
Wow.
And I remember it snowed something horrible out there. And the whole car was covered up. It must have been 3 feet of snow.
Oh
Guess who
my
had to
God.
go out there? Guess who had to go out there and shovel the snow? Who had
Mm.
I had to clean that car off because if we don't have that car, my
It was the
girls
only
can't
one.
get to the houses. Right. So my girls got to get to the houses. So that's on me. So that's the point. In entrepreneurship, you're gonna always do stuff that you didn't think you had to do. That's not you, that's just how this thing works. You have to do whatever it
It
takes
takes.
to succeed, no matter what. And that's what thing with business. If you want to be successful, you gotta be all in, man. You can't be trying to do it halfway. You got to be all in because it's something about when you know that the people in your family are depending on you to be successful, it's extra
Hmm.
motivation for you to be successful.
Yeah, because again, this what we're responsible for. A lot of people, we're responsible for not only for the product and to have a great customer service, we're also responsible for our employees, because we have to generate when salaries have to be there. Some of our employees, probably the only salary that goes to that house, and the house have to pay rent, have to pay food. So we are you have the responsibility to make sure that the business grow, that thrive, and you have to take care of the whole ecosystem, and uh, and it's difficult to for uh, for people to understand you unless that there are other entrepreneurs. So have you ever felt lonely in your entrepreneur journey, or you have at the early stage of your business, you have been in contact with entrepreneurs? I mean, you're lucky that you have your dad that manage business, and well, maybe you can talk about some topics with his dad, facing the challenge. Uh, this is not working, or maybe daddy can give you some advice. But do you find yourself lonely, or since you're starting business, you decided, look, I need to go out and meet fellow entrepreneurs and have some people around me that actually mentors that understand my challenges, what I'm going through, because we are a very little percentage of the population, and sometimes people trying to start. That's one of the reasons why we do these broadcasts, is to create a community around entrepreneurs. So all the challenges that we have, we can share it, we can talk about, and people don't feel lonely out there. Have you ever felt lonely as an entrepreneur, or you managed to build relationships during at the very early beginning?
No, I think that's definitely a part of the journey that you're going to feel like you're alone. You know,
Mm.
you're going to ask
Because
yourself,
nobody understands you. You cannot ask your
it's just
your
you.
employees
It's,
to
it's
help
just you.
you.
Yeah.
They
I
won't
mean,
they won't understand your problem in the first place. So
nope. Nope. That phase where you finally get around other entrepreneurs, that's later. Because if you
I
really,
agree with you. When you
yeah,
start, you don't
when you
even have time. You don't even
right.
have time.
When you first open a business and start a business, you don't have time. So everything is your decisions. It's all on you, and you definitely going to go through a period if you feel lonely. You're going to question yourself. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
ask yourself, did you do the right thing? Was it worth it? Do I know what I'm doing? There's a lot of self-reflection that comes along,
100%.
you know.
Especially facing rejection. People are telling you no, no, no. And then you have a phone call from your friend from the corporate telling you, how's it doing, man? I told you don't quit your job. I'm getting my salary. How you gonna make next month? And you, oh my God, now this guy calling me again.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
You
it's
because we always we this call it will come from you because that's the other thing. You have a group of friends that you go for corporate, and that was your circle there. I remember when I started my first business, I went out with my group of friends, and everybody was talking about their things. And then I went and talked to my group of friends. I said, "Listen, you won't believe I started this business with this property. I'm renting this room, and I'm gonna make money and this and that." Nobody cares.
exactly.
I don't think that they were even listening to me. They were like, who cares?
Right.
So I'm thinking, oh my God, this is gonna be tough that I thought because I'm about to lose all my friends. They don't, I don't have nothing to talk about with them anymore. They don't really care and they don't wanna care. And they don't learn. So I realized that I was lonely. My parents are teachers, so so we don't have. My grandfather was an entrepreneur, but he died when I was very young, so I have very little reference. Basically, I'm the first entrepreneur in my family. So it being hard, exactly what you said. This moment when you are starting, you don't have time for anything, and you are alone, and then you have your friends, and even for me, my mom and my mom was telling me, I said, "Mom, I'm gonna expand." And my mom, "Don't expand, don't do that." I said, "Mom, you don't even know what it is." And she's, "No,
That's
but don't
funny.
do it. It's enough." So things like that, and you wonder yourself. So, how you get out of that loneliness cycle in the beginning? Do you have a friend? Do
You
you
know,
manage to increase your sales so you actually have time? Because this is what happened to me. Until I
you
didn't
know,
increase myself, then I could put out myself out of the business. I started to employ people. I couldn't meet anybody.
right.
I thought that I invented my business, and after I increased my sales and I was out of the business, I started to networking, and I found out a lot of people doing my business and also better than me. And I thought that I invented my business. Look how lonely I was.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, yeah. So Marcel, how people are in love with our conversation? They want to learn more about you. How people can find you? How this process work? If they
Oh,
want to
so
invest in your property deals in
yeah,
state of
yeah.
Washington, things, how they find you? How this
The
is
best
work?
way to find me is Marcel, Marcel Clarke, Clarke.co. So not com, .co. So marcelclarke.co. And that's my page where everything that I do is on there, from my real estate deals to my commercial cleaning company to a book I just wrote, Hiding in Plain View. So you can find everything
So how
about
can we find the book? Where
Oh,
is
you
the
can
book?
find it. It's in all major retailers. So all you have to do is Google Hiding in Plain View by Marcel Clarke. Google it. It's going to come up. It's on Amazon,
So what the book is
Walmart.
about? What the book is about? What's your favorite chapter?
My favorite chapter, I was actually, talking about the other day. My favorite chapter was when, I was younger and we had hard times. And my mom was the type of person that she said, you got to just work with what you have. And we had a real but broken down, busted sofa that was in our living room, and it was hideous. And one day she went out to the store and she found this cover that she could put on it. And I remember talking to her about, I'm like, Mom, that's not going to work. She put that cover on that sofa and it looked brand new. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, and it taught me that lesson that just work with whatever you
What you
have.
have?
Yeah, you
You
just gotta
wish that
go
you
with
have
it. Don't
money to buy a new couch or whatever, but you need to work with what you have.
You gotta make it work, man. And that's the lesson in life that I have, man. Like no
And for
matter what
business,
my
this is
hand,
key. For
yeah,
business, this is
it's
key
business, isn't
because
it? It's key. You just
man,
gotta
because if
work
you
with
want
what
to
you have.
spend money growing your business, you have thousand ways to run out of budget so easy in a lot of things. So we have to keep it tight, right?
Yeah, you had to be really resourceful. You can't
Absolutely.
you can't complain about what you don't have. Focus on what you do have and focus on maximizing those assets, skills, whatever you have, focus on that. And like if I'm telling any entrepreneur something that's out there and they're even thinking about doing a business or they're going to get in business, try to do something that you really do like and love, because if you do that, like I don't like my daughter, she likes to draw. And now she's 18, she's thinking, oh, I might want to do tattoo shop. I'm like, yeah, you could do a tattoo shop because I know she's gonna put
Good.
100% in it because
Mm-hmm.
that's what she likes to
She's
do.
passionate about it.
She been drawing since she been a baby, right? So
Wow.
I'm like, if that's what you really want to do, go after it. But that's my point to all young entrepreneurs. Do what you like to do, and that will help you become successful because when you love something, you give it 100%
Yeah,
because you
you don't
want
feel like working, right?
it don't even feel
Like
like
this
work.
podcast. This podcast is not work. It's a lot of
It's
fun.
not work. You
Yeah,
doing
meeting
exactly
amazing people, having
you like to
amazing
communicate.
conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You communicate, you're personable. This works for you. This isn't work. This is easy. And that's what it is. If you want to really be an entrepreneur, tap into what you do best. I don't care what it is. And then you try to sell that or make it a service. And you'll in that right there, you'll be halfway home. Trust me. Because once you love something, you're gonna give it everything you can to make sure it succeeds.
Thank you so much, Marcel. That has been really powerful. I really appreciate. And for all of you following the broadcast, see you in our next episode of Unstoppable, how brave entrepreneur like Marcel break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for
I
now.
appreciate you, Harry. Thanks for having me out. I appreciate your show.
Pleasure.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.